What's up? What's up? Just waiting on more folks to arrive before we start our anime manga talk. This new little live stream series that we've been doing lately. Let me turn on some audio while we're waiting. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's definitely go. It's number 1. Probably number 2. There's 3. 4. All right, I tell you what, while we're waiting on our other contestant to join us, let's just go ahead and actually jump onto our drawing. Oh, you know what? There was actually something else I need to do. I need to load up an anime honorable mentions. What are my anime honorable mentions right now? What am I watching? Fortnite Through the Apocalypse anime. Hey, what's up? What's up?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh,
Loud
I
and
hear
clear.
your music too.
Oh, you can hear the music?
Mm-hmm.
It's not too loud or overpowering or anything, is it?
No.
Okay, perfect. So I got my top 5 manga, and actually I do have them in order. I thought about it. Ooh, hold on. Can't hear that, can you? Netflix.
Yeah.
Let me turn that off. Okay. Because I do have some honorable mention anime. I know we did your manga list yesterday.
Yeah.
I wanted to get together my list of anime. But I haven't done it quite yet. So I'll tell you what. let's just go ahead and start off. I mean, you're ready?
Um, I mean, if you need a little bit of time, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm just trying to see if I can pull up my Streamlabs because I hadn't started recording yet.
Okay, perfect. Oh, me either, actually. And if you need me to give screen share, I don't know if there's screen share rights. If you wanted to do that, I think I'm able to do that, or if you have your setup. But okay. So I'm gonna work on my list here then, and then we'll get started for everybody to join us with. I guess this is considered an anime. I'm gonna hold on. I want reserve that. Reserve anime rights for that one.
Okay. I'm interested to see what this is you're talking about.
What else we got here? I know I've watched a bunch of stuff lately. Been watching a lot more anime than I would have considered myself watching.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I don't really like turn it on. Like, oh, I gotta watch this anime. Oh, yeah, that one, definitely that one. What other anime is out there? Oh yeah, yep. Let me turn down my vibrate here.
Yeah, let me do the same myself. Do the same thing.
Oh, is that the plumber? Ninja Turtle. I know you've seen all the stuff with the Ninja Turtle plumber. Pop the balloon stuff.
Yeah.
I guess he's here, dapping it up with 50 Cent, son. Winning. Have you been watching those pop balloons? Pop the balloons?
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, not unfortunately. They're amazing. They're amazing.
They're horrible temperature check on what's going on in today's modern dating atmosphere.
That's why I love it. That's why I'm like, man, I've been out of the dating game for a long time. If this is what they're dealing with,
yes, I said this.
I'm sorry for them, man.
Goodness, I said if that's what they're going through, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel for my children.
Yeah, they I don't know. As a preemptive before we get started in the video, I'm ready, but I'll just say this, man. I remember when I met Tina, it was like 16 years ago now. It was a long time ago. And we've been together since. And it's like, it wasn't that hard. It wasn't like all this. It wasn't like, well, your shoes weren't, I popped because of your shoes. Or you
the bottom
didn't.
of your pants are too tight.
Yeah, there was one early on. I think it was like, you watched the Arlette ones? Arlette Pop the Balloons?
Probably.
Okay. There was one in Arlette's. It was like the third episode, and it was a dark skinned dude, and there was this one woman, she came out in a brown dress. I still call her brown dress. Because it was a very simple brown, like close fit dress. But this woman was a stallion, son. Like she has a body on her. You know what I'm saying? So you saw all the curves. And she was she must have been athletic, like she must have been like 5'10, 5'9, 5'11 or somewhere around there. Full figure, everything. She's very modest. She came out talking like, hello, very nice. And the dude popped the balloon on her because she didn't have a bracelet. He's like, yeah, I popped because you didn't have anything on your wrist. I like when you used to have something on your wrist. I'm like, yo, you're going to turn all female because of a bracelet? Not because looked some kind of way. She was disrespectful, loud, ghetto, nothing like very clean, very nice, everything. Embraced it.
I think sometimes what people do, and it's somewhat of a defense mechanism, they disqualify the person before that they can disqualify them.
Yep.
And so they say to themselves, nah, she would never give me the time of day, or he would never give me the time of day. Let me just go ahead and disqualify them so that
Yeah.
I don't have to be disqualified.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly it. Um, it's a shame. It's like it's a deep rooted insecurity that they're dealing with, and it keeps them from having something really nice if you give it a chance. It's not easy, even the early stages, you got to work at it. You might learn something about yourself. It's like, oh man, I've been doing this the whole time. I need to stop doing that. I need to do something else. I need to pay attention. And those are qualities when you learn that for one person, and let's say for whatever reason, for better or worse, it didn't work out.
Hmm.
Those are qualities you can take with you
Take
in
with you.
every
Take
other
it.
situation of your life.
Unfortunately,
Um,
they're taking all the bad experiences with them into the next experience. See, now we're getting off into like
yeah.
relationship based.
Yeah. Okay, all right. That's another episode. We might have to make that another let's talk relationships or something. Let's talk or whatever. But all right. Anyways, welcome back, everyone. This is our Let's Talk series. It's me, your boy. I am cartoons. I do my cartoons and animation, all that kind of stuff, illustrations. As you see, my background is a lot of my stuff. I got merchandise and things you can pick up later on. We talk about that later. But I got my cousin here, Freddie, with Closet of Anime. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Glad to be here again.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, we had a lot of fun yesterday. Actually, 2 hour stream. We could have went for 4 hours. I'm pretty sure talking about anime, manga, and everything in between. But
Yep.
we went through Freddie's his top 5 anime, and we thoroughly described everything. And we got his honorable mention of manga. So, and that's because there's a reason why we did it that way. It's because he is the anime guru right now. I used to watch anime too, but I kind of fell off. But he's been staying up on it. But me now, I'm the manga guy. I like my pages in my hands or on
Now,
my phone. So
okay. So now, for a lot
uh,
of people, though, we gotta break down the hierarchy because there is a hierarchy of when it comes to the physical content, right? So there's a
yeah,
hierarchy when it comes to the anime, and it goes the original launch, then it goes your sub, and
okay.
I mean no, yeah, your sub and then dub.
Hmm.
That's the hierarchy of it. Now in the paper form or the physical content, it's your light novel, then your I'd consider like your light novel. If you're reading the light novel, you're hardcore. I don't know too many people that's reading the light novel versions of uh, the mangas like before they even like drawn out. All it's just words, and the only art that you get is just like the front cover where you see like maybe like the characters, and
Mm.
then maybe the back cover. So light novel, um, your uh, the manga,
Hmm.
um, and then probably web novel, and yeah, yeah, and then I would consider that the hierarchy, right? Or do you think different?
So I would say, because there's nothing more true than the actual artist drawing it, and in its original form, like you're saying, the manuscript planning it out and all this stuff. But I would say the original form is the actual magazine. If we want to go back as far as you can, the Shonen Jump, where it was actually released, and I say that because when it's initially released that way, when you got the magazine, it's either got the front cover and you got to go through this. The first section might be some stupid series that you don't even know about, care about, and you get to scroll all the way to your actual one in the magazine. Because when it's published that way, that's the original release. That's how it was released. And then when it's put
Hmm.
into the when it's translated onto the digital form, or when it's compiled into the volumes in the actual like volume 1, volume 2, and has like 10 chapters in one volume, they make changes. They make a lot of changes, and that's actually a thing in the manga world right now. um I'm gonna go out and say I like reading spoilers. I read all the spoilers, I look them all up, whatever. um but that's a thing, because if you do get the spoilers, usually the spoilers are translated from somebody, and it's like multiple translations that go out. And then after the translations go out early, then you get the actual release in the magazine. So that's a whole nother version. And what's in the magazine, there's a lot of controversy of whether people like it or not, even though it is the true release form. A
Hmm.
lot of people will default to the translations. They call them scanlations, like myself. I
Okay.
don't do the
Okay.
magazine. I do the scanlations because when they translate it, they tend to translate for the audience, where the is true to the original form, but it's like, to me, it's more raw. It's like, instead of them saying, "Hey, what are you doing? Get over here," in the magazine release, in the scanlations, they'll be like, "Hey, hey, punk, what are you doing? Get your behind over here." It's like, it's more intense, and they scan it that way. So there's two forms right there, and then you have the volume, and then it gets translated into the anime, and then you have your sub and dub, which has different translations. So between all of that, you have like five or six different things, and
Yeah. Every time it gets reiterated, it may either add or remove something from it.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I think the hierarchy is there's a it's kind of there, but it's kind of not, because if you just watch the anime and you just do dub, and then you look at the translations and sub, it'll be different from the dub or something. So it kind of is just based on whatever you hold, really, in my opinion. Um, there's no need to feel obligated to one or another. Um, Actually, I still have to post the links. Did you want to comment on anything else as far as the hierarchy or anything like that?
No, no. Mhm. No, I
Um,
just know that usually there's somewhat of a elitism hierarchy when you start to say like, man, I watch anime, but then you realize, wait a minute, you only watch the dub stuff. Like, no, you're not. You're not watching real. You're not really watching the anime. Like,
yeah, yeah, that is true. That is a thing. People do kind of pick like that. It's like, oh, you got to only watch the dub. And it's like, well, I'll watch the dub if I need something that's not gonna just, if I can like turn it on and kind of be doing something else and kind of look at it, like do two things at once, I'll do that. But if it's only sub, I can't. I have to watch it. That's the only thing I can watch, because you got to read it. You know. Um,
mm-hmm.
so that's my. But I like sub more, even though I have to read it.
Yep.
But I only do dub as a convenience when I can. Um, I don't know if that helped to prove a point or anything.
Well, another reason I prefer one, it's closer to the truest form of it, the sub
Hmm.
versus the dub. But another reason why I prefer sub over dub, one, you're getting it way earlier. Usually, sub content is released well before the dub. Like you gotta wait like 2 weeks after, unless it's just a really hot anime and they release sub and dub at the same time. But I seldomly see that. Usually, your sub comes out like well in advance before they even dub it.
Yep.
Uh, and then another reason for being a sub overdub person is that the voice actors are just leagues above the dub voice actors that they use. Point in case, Naruto. I cannot stand the voice actor for Naruto dub
Mm,
over the sub
hmm.
voice actor. You know, he's got like this very pre-pubescent, like raspy kind of. Hey, that's not my ninja way. I'm like, what? No, no, that's not right. You know, and
Mm.
then I think there's this big. I saw this big thing where people were debating the Bankai. You know, it's just nothing hits harder than that pause when Ichigo is going into Bankai. But if you when he's releasing his Bankai in the dub, he just rolls right into it. It's Bankai. But when he's
Oh,
yeah, you need that pause, Bankai, and then he's released. Yeah.
there's more intensity with that in the banka in the pause.
Hmm.
It almost kind of feels like that's how language is. It's like there's a difference between a word in certain languages just by pausing or not pausing. You know, if you there's certain like inflations and you know quickness or slowness of the way you pronounce something that is like, oh, that's what you meant, versus doing it fast. And it's like, oh, I thought you meant something else because you said it like that. You know, so bon, God, you know that's pretty cool. Yeah, I can see that.
Um, and another that I noticed and I picked up on very well is not again pointing out with Naruto. Um, Naruto when he was always referring to Jiraiya in the dub,
Hmm.
Jiraiya Sensei. But in the sub, if you're a sub watcher of Naruto, he's always referring to him as Pervy Sensei. And it's like, oh yeah, that's different because Pervy Sensei, his master Jiraiya, was pretty perverted. He liked to try to scope out the women when he was at the saunas, and when he's
Yeah,
getting ready to get into the sauna, he always wants to try to get over the wall and peep on the women. And he was
yeah,
always reading, kind of ecchi novels
yeah,
and some women in some scantily clad outfits and stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
he was pervy sensei.
And that's a big difference between calling Pervy Sensei every time he talks to him versus you said Dry Sensei,
Jiraiya sensei.
Jiraiya Sensei. Because one is like that's his name, unless Jiraiya means pervy, or that.
No, Jiraiya is his name. Yeah, Jiraiya.
So one is respect, and the other one is like a gag. It's like a
Yeah.
gag joke that's going on. So what's the tone that you're going for? Are you going for respect, or are you going for the joke tone? You know, that's a big difference, man. That's a big difference depending on what you're watching. Whichever one you watch first, and when you watch the second one, it's like that's not right because this is how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the jokey version, you know. Um, big difference, big difference. But so with that being said, I sent out all the links so everybody that knows about it will join us if they feel like. So I got my list here.
Okay. Yeah.
I,
Let's see what you got. Let's see what you
I
got.
got my top 5 manga that I currently entertain for 2024. There was some in 2023, but I was like, you know what? These are 2024 exclusively on an almost weekly, if not monthly basis. And they're in order from 5 to 4, 5 to 1. I mean, but I do have 2 honorable mentions. Just right off bat, I'm going to go through them kind of quickly, but they're not even on the list. And the way I did this, I I ordered it by which ones I need in my life. If it came out, if there was a chapter of each one out right now, this is the order I will read them in, um, from least to first, and whichever's last I could do without compared to the first one. So just to start it out, I kind of struggled a little bit with where to put this one, but I think it landed right where it needed to be. Um, Let me just get my screen back up here. Hopefully this is it. Kaiju number 8
Okay.
is number
Okay.
7. which is not even on the list. Sorry, Kaiju number 8.
Mm-hmm.
I actually started this series. I think it was on like chapter 2 when it first came out. I was very aware of when it came out and when it dropped. I've been staying up with it. I'm probably like maybe 1 or 2 chapters behind. I try to let it build up because when I read it straight through. It's one of those manga that when I first read it, I was like, this is going to be a hit. This is going to be a hit. I don't know how it's going to last long because as you read the story,
Mm-hmm.
have you read any of it or you just
Yep.
watched it?
Oh no. See, I'm gonna surprise you here. I actually knew Kaiju number 8 because of the manga, and I did the same thing. As I'm reading it, I said, "Ooh, they gotta animate this. They gotta
Yeah,
animate this. This is good."
yeah,
And then when I heard that they were doing the animation, I'm like, I knew it.
easy, easy. And
Easy. Yep.
it was as you know, so to kind of give everybody a brief of what it's about. Like I said, the anime is out, so I don't think we're spoiling too much. Basically, the main character there's a war of kaijus. Think of what's that movie? The Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about with the large mechs,
Yeah,
and they're like over there, like getting in the suits and having the like box of kaiju. Uh,
Guillermo del Toro. It is Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. So Pacific Rim is a pretty famous series right now. It's a bunch of mechs. People get into mechs and they fight against these kaijus. Kaiju is the default name now of large monsters. Think Godzilla and stuff like that. Monsters appear out of nowhere and start wreaking havoc and killing people and blowing up stuff. Um, Same concept. Monsters come out, kill people, blow up stuff. But instead of having giant mechs, we have a elite military force that actually goes out and beats up on them and saves the day. And there's different people. A lot of the main characters you see here that have specialties, that have their own personality, different skill sets to fight those monsters. While our main character, you don't see his face here because he's the actual monster. You see, he's just some no good dude that just cleans up all the messes after all the fighting's done. He tries to go out to be a part of the team, but he can only manage to be in a cleanup crew because he sucks. He has no discernible skills, and he's kind of dopey. However, one day, they still haven't explained it to this day. I'm only a few chapters behind, but to this day, they haven't really explained exactly what happened. But a kaiju creature, crawls into his throat and allows him to become a kaiju. He's like a half kaiju like werewolf kind of thing. And he uses that to join the military force and fight other monsters with his own monster powers. And then you can imagine all the things that ensue from there. That's the story. As you can imagine, very dynamic, very cool powers. It goes from like, what do I do? It's like, just help us do something. And he summons the power of the monster and he punches and it blows up everything from a punch or something. It's one of those kind of series. And you also got the girls, really cute girls, the small, petite, cute girls that have the giant battle axes and giant buster rifles, which is always funny to see. But series is colorful. It's got a very great charismatic look, the different colors. There's always a cool monster, always a cool fight in every other chapter. Even the people are good. There's no one character that is bad. If there's any criticism I'll give to the series, it's 2 things. One is that I think some of the characters do kind of blend together a little bit. I don't really recognize everybody, but especially when it's not in color. In black and white, I'm like, wait, is this guy? Wait, I think that's okay. But I think they do try to do a good job and try to like make them look different. But sometimes I get a little confused. But that's just me. Maybe that's my criticism on me. The only other criticism I give is that you can tell the series is not meant to really last a long time. It's definitely got an end goal in mind. Even from the first chapter, it's like you already meet the main bad guy. I think within the first chapter, a couple chapters. He's the main villain, and they already clashed with him a couple times. So it was like, this isn't gonna last very long. Maybe 200-300 chapters at the most.
Mhm.
But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
I think that's where a lot of the more popular series are going, a 200 chapter. But yeah, I put it at number 7 because I think it's a really, really, really great series right now. But I don't think it has that power, that Kaiju 8 power to go to last with the big boys that I have coming up ahead of it. But it's on my list. I do keep up with it though. So Freddie, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the series?
Oh yeah, definitely. I will second everything you just said. Um, I knew when I started reading it, I said, "Ooh, this has to get animated."
Yeah.
And I knew when I started reading it, and you meet the big bad, I knew, okay, this is clearly going to end. This isn't going to be a forever running series. Um, and it progressed, pretty steadily towards that final um, conclusion. And so I could see the pacing, I could see the direction, and I'm like, okay, this has a clear end in sight. Once they meet that end, this series is finished.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm I don't really have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a problem with that because there's just so many anime series out that I think they want to continue going, and
Mm-hmm.
then something happens where the funding or the support drops, and then you're like, well, what happened to my anime? They just ended in the middle of a season or something, or like it just leaves off on a cliffhanger, and you get no finish. So I would prefer them to just go ahead and finish it versus to just keep trying to feed into it, and then they can't sustain it, and then it's gets axed. So
Yeah. That's actually a really, really great point in that, you prefer to be like there's already so much in the pool. Let's keep the rotation going and just it's like, hey, get in, get out, let room for the next guy. Get in, get out, kind of thing. Maybe embracing that is the way to go instead of maybe only have like one or two long series and then keep a good rotation of this because I gotta tell you, I'm interested to see what happens after this. After this artist finishes this series, I want to see what they do next, man. They might have some really cool ideas if they can make something original like this. And this is original. There's nothing else out there like it. Um, I'm impressed with it, and I'm curious to see what happens next. I do want to highlight one really cool thing I love about the series is so we talked about the main character having the kaiju powers and how some other characters have like the power to shoot and cool knife skills or whatever.
mhm.
Something else that they've incorporated is so kaiju number 8 is he's the number 8 major kaiju. There's kaiju levels. There's small kaiju. I don't know them all. It's like shy kaiju, low kaiju.
The Hanju, uh, uh, Yonju,
Yeah,
and Dai Kaiju.
yeah,
The Dai Kaiju is the top tier. That's when you get numbered. You become a
yeah,
numbered kaiju. And then I want to say it's Honju, and then Yonju is the smaller ones, like the real tiny ones.
the
They're
fodder.
weaker, but they come with numbers, so they can overwhelm you with their numbers, kind of like the Zerglings, and
Yeah,
they can overrun you with numbers. So don't don't just kind of overlook them just because they're weaker ones. They got the numbers to them, and then the ones above them, the Honju, those are the ones that are going to be they can reproduce the lower ones. So and they're stronger. So those are the ones that you need, like your somewhat like your captain levels to handle.
yeah.
And then your Dai Kaiju, you need the squad.
Need the squad.
You need the squad.
Call the squad. Woo-hoo! We gotta go. Let's go. Yeah. No, and that's why I love it, the Dai Kaiju. So I guess our main character is considered number 8 of all the Dai Kaiju have come through, and then they've
Mm-hmm.
had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's even 9 and 10, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they even got up to like 13, 14 in like the major battle that just kind of it happened. It just where it's at in the story right now. It was like 5 or 6 different areas fighting its own Daikaiju advanced level or something by
Mm-hmm.
themselves. One person by themselves taking it out. But what I want to highlight was how when they defeat one of these Daikaiju, a numbered one, they actually take its skeletal structure or its DNA in his body and whatever power or skill that Daikaiju had, and they were able to incorporate it into either an outfit or a weapon or something that they can use themselves, almost like an artificial kaiju number 8 hybrid form, because he's a natural hybrid that happened. And they like, so for instance, this guy in the bottom corner I'm kind of in the pink right there, he's one of my favorite characters because he's the captain of Squad 1, if I'm not mistaken. And he has like a gun rifle sword, a rifle blade,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at first it's like he's introduced as this bumbling fool, and it's like whatever, and they have to keep him in check and keep him on track. He plays video games and he's kind of slacks off. When they call him into action, it's like, all right, he's gonna move out, whatever. And he's like, I got this. He's gonna take care of it. Not only can he fight, like he is really good. He's like the pinnacle of fighting prowess. His first he can shoot with a gun, and then he take it and like cut, and whip him up. But then when it comes really serious, I forget what number he has. I think it's number 1. He can use the kaiju's. He took the kaiju's eyes that allow him to see. Was it see the future, or he can see the electromagnetic waves that allow him to like predict the future, so he can
Mm-hmm.
tell what's going on and where to attack and stuff. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's kind of like a Batman. He's like Batman. He's like pinnacle fighting, but then he's smart enough to see and can be able to plan. And he's goofy. And I always like that. And they have other hybrid artificial enhancements. I think the captain here in the black next to him is I think it's Kaiju number 2. He has like these gauntlets that can shoot like power punches.
Yeah. I think they're
And
like electric kind of elemental blast.
yeah. And then I think the more recent one they just showed, I think it's number 2 in the blue right here. I think he was one of the newer recruits that worked alongside the main character as a
Mm-hmm.
cleaner.
Yep.
And then he came along, but he kind of got left behind a little bit, in my opinion. But now he's kind of gotten highlighted where he's actually compatible with, I think it's Kaiju number, I want to say it's like number 5. I might be completely off, but he was the only one that's compatible enough with it to unlock its full potential at 100%. And when he did, it's like I think it's a gun, but it's a suit too, where it's like he can shoot ice, but then he
Ice.
can like it enhances his own capabilities, but it's like ice power. And
Mm-hmm.
ice power is my favorite power in every Iceman, One Piece, Kuzan. Like ice power is my favorite. So that's I love that. But yeah, that's something this series does that no other series has done. But yeah, any other comments before we move on to this other failure of did not make my list?
No, we're good.
Okay, all right. So this next one, I keep up with this weekly. I do read this often, but it didn't make the number 5 because again, it's like I can live without it. If it never showed up, I've been okay. Undead Unluck.
Okay.
Undead Unluck. It is the, I don't know if it's as popular as Kaiju number 8. I think Kaiju number 8 has kind of surpassed it in popularity, in my opinion, from the way I've been hearing people talk about it and not talk about it. I remember when this first came out too. I think I saw in this first chapter and everything like that, not too long ago. And I was like, what the crap is this, man? I was like, Undead Unluck, because actually, excuse me, let me get the front cover. I think when you look at the front cover of the manga, it looks like it was really goofy. It was like this.
Mm-hmm.
She was really shy. She was like, ooh, and she had these big breasts or whatever, and he's like got this weird goofy face, and he's like fondling her all the time, especially in the first episode. It's got a manga now. It's got an anime, and it was just too goofy for me. It was like I'm not reading that crap. But then I heard more and more about it, and I saw it was people start talking about it more. I was like, I'll give it a try. Why not? And actually, I saw a YouTube streamer. He said you got to get through the first like 10 chapters or something like that, and then after that, it takes off. I was like, okay, I can read about 15 chapters, and then next thing I know, I read 100 chapters. So, just real brief. I'll get into what it is, and I'll let you comment. Basically, the series is called Undead Unluck. In the world, there are rules. We all know about rules. It's like you have to breathe. Hot is hot, cold is cold, gravity, science, technology. Like there's rules that the world lives by. Like who made those rules? Why do rules exist? Can we break the rules? What happens if you break the rules? And it doesn't really start off like that. It starts off like this girl, she has really bad luck. Everything she touches is destroyed. Not even crumbles, destroyed. And she meets a guy who he never dies. So her powers don't work on him because you can't destroy him. And then as you keep reading it, long story short, they meet other characters that also have an unpower, like just to name a few that you see here: unfair, untouchable, unforgettable, unsleep, so on and so on, injustice. And they're actually based on real world words that we use all the time. Unfair, unforgettable. We say that a lot. And they're actually negating the rules of the world. And so it actually brings a tragedy to each one of these characters that as you keep reading it, it's really dark. It gets dark, it gets deep, and it gets pretty intense. It's not some goofy little series, and it stops being goofy pretty early. I'd say after probably about 20 chapters, it's not goofy anymore. It's serious. So I think it's really great. And yeah, what are your thoughts? What's your experience with it?
Yeah. So I definitely liked it. So for some people, that I think there's probably going to be a couple of camps. There's going to be the camp, obviously, that's going to like the fan service. Okay, it's full of fan service. So yeah, like the extra physics that go on with your female protagonist. This is probably well within your anime to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're gonna like some about the concept that you have with the negators. So they're negating rules of our natural world, feelings, forgetfulness, or being fair, or luck. So they're negating them by being unfair, or unfeeling, or untouchable, unseen, undead, unstoppable. So I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely different, and unique. So I like anime that takes on different uniqueness. Obviously, there's a lot of anime that take on certain attributes of other animes, and they just run them because they're hot in the moment. So like zombies, and then you'll read 5 different mangas that's all around zombies, or the fabled Truck Kun. You know, everybody's getting hit by trucks and getting isekai'd away into
Mhm.
other. And that becomes a anime trope.
Yeah.
So um, this one doesn't seem to have. I mean, other than the typical fan service, this one doesn't seem to play too much into um, other anime that already currently exist. I can't tell you how many anime I've read currently that follow like a necromancer thing, and they all take different kind of spins on it. Like there's a necromancer that doesn't even use magic; he just specs completely into strength, and so everyone keeps thinking that he's a weak mage, and so they go and try to target him immediately, not realizing like he's stronger than most warriors in brute forced characters. And then
Hmm.
there's another where the necromancer is completely specked out into necromancy, and you can't even touch him.
Mm.
And then I think of all of the necromancers, the most famous one is the solo leveler. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, but they're all piggybacking off of necromancy. But Undead Unluck, I don't think there's any other anime that's quite like I could really point to and be like, yeah, that's where it's getting all of its inspiration from. Is that? So
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you too, so the first season is out right now. And I think you get a lot of the dynamic, differences in this series from the anime. And I think it's definitely a good one to watch. I did watch like the first two episodes, and I would say they really take what I like about this one and some of the ones that's coming up. There's a couple other ones coming up that they all share a unique originality in how they do the powers. I would say even Kaiju number 8 did it too, but very unique way in the way they did their powers. Because undead, you would think, oh, he's undying, so he just heals up like Wolverine or something. No, he kind of takes it to the next level of regeneration. Like it's like regeneration times 1,000. It's like he will deliberately cut his arm off in order to shoot blood as a Kamehameha wave or something. And I would say it's a little bit of a spoiler if because I don't think it's out in the anime yet, but when one of the later chapters, like he gets so advanced, he powers up his regenerative ability so much that he's able to. I think he has to fight like three different people at the same time, and so he splits his skin up to go this way, and he splits his blood up to go that way, and then like whatever's left over to go this way to fight. But they only last like a few seconds because whatever limb he cuts off only remains for like 30 seconds or a minute or something. So when he sends it off to fight, they have to. It's like here's my one shot, go, and whatever he does, that the skin has to take care of that enemy in one shot and whatever it is. So I was like, dude, that's so original. What is he gonna do? And then the chapter, it's probably a two chapter fight, and so you can see the skin. It's like it's just a flabby piece of meat, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this move and capture him this way or whatever, and then it goes away, and it beat the guy. I'm like, what? There's no other series that's doing anything that creative. It's not just undead. It's not just healing. It's like he's like I never even thought about that before. Cut off my finger and let it fight my fights for me or whatever. Um, and they have other little things like that in the series that takes it to another level. And then season 2, when it comes up, is going to show a lot of that, but it goes to even another level of powers that is so original. I think there's like 2 different power systems in the series,
yes,
and it's like, yo, this is so cool. They're exploring one right now in the latest chapters where it's like that one power powers up everything else. So once they master that, it's like Super Saiyan uh, Super Saiyan on top of Kaioken. You know, um, using Dragon Ball Z as a reference. Dragon Ball Z is the grandfather of them all. Everybody can reference it, but Yeah, man, I don't really have a lot of gripes with the series, other than I, I think it was a little goofy for me at first, like the first couple chapters, but then it definitely spans off to a seriousness later on. Um, I don't know if I really have a lot of strong criticisms. Um, I think the story is clear cut. It's got a certain. It's going to end soon. It's going to end in probably another, not even 100 chapters. Um, and yeah, I love it. I keep up with it every week as soon as it comes out.
Okay, okay.
But
I gotta go back and rewatch it because I feel like I'm missing a lot of like what's their end goal. I know for the main protagonist, Andy, his main goal is he wants to be able to die, correct?
right.
Okay. And then I can't remember the female lead, Fuko.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what's her goal in this. Do
Well,
you remember?
I think she wants to get rid of her powers because, if I'm not mistaken, she wants to get rid of it because everything she touches is destroyed or dies, or every person she touches, um, it gets unluck to the point where it will be destroyed by a car, or bus, a meteorite, or whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she can't. It's like Rogue. She's like Rogue. Undead is like Wolverine. It's like I can't die. It's like I can't touch anyone. So it's kind of messed up. Like she killed her family, and that's in the first episode, first chapter. She gave him a hug when she was a little girl, when her powers manifested, and they went away and died on a plane crash, and it sucks.
Mm.
So,
So
so
basically, yeah, she's wanting to get rid of him so that she can experience love, really. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's actually pretty cool the way they've used the main characters. Like you think the main character is going to be undead because he's so cool. It's actually the girl Fuko. She is our main character, um, because they actually did a thing with her later on. Because at first she's like, man, she's so weird, she's so shy, and was like, "Ooh," she's like the Krillin of the series. It's like, oh my gosh, just kill this person right now. Um, but she actually becomes her own character later on, and it's actually
Mm,
pretty cool to follow her. Um,
okay.
definitely stick with it. Anybody that's has any reservations about it, it gets a really cool direction later on.
Mm, mm.
But all right, so that was just the two preliminaries. Now we getting into our top five here, and this was hard. This was really hard. I did not want to put this in number five, but number five has got to be my boy, Chainsaw Man.
Okay.
Chainsaw Man, yes sir, yes sir. Chainsaw Man. I jumped into it. I think maybe within chapter like the chapter 70s, 60s or 70s. It was already really well on by the time I got to it. Um, I forget how I even found it really, but just to man, it's hard to even put into words how cool this series is. The guy who created this, he was still pretty young. He's only like 27, 26 or something like that. And this is actually his second series that he started. He did one before this called Fire Punch. It's in the same style of like very loose drawing,
Mm,
very original, crazy stuff going on and all over the place. Not really demons, but people with powers. Um, it was a big. I think it was a hit enough that it got him to do Chainsaw Man. And what Chainsaw Man is about is this boy. I think it's Shinji. I forget his
mhm.
actual name. Um, he's down on his luck. He's really stupid, really stupid, or maybe he just doesn't have any knowledge at all. But he's down on his luck, and I forget how he finds this little dog right there is Poochie or
Gucci, yeah.
Poochie.
Yep.
I forget. Yeah, so he has like a chainsaw, and this gang. I think his father owed money to a gang, and the gang he tried to get the money for him, but they still killed him anyway or something. And I think Poochie combined with him, and then from there was some demons or something too that came and killed the guys. it was something. It was really crazy. The first chapter is really wild, and it's like, what the hell is going on? And then you think it's gonna be like Berserk, where he's gonna be killed and everything, but he combines with Poochie, and then he gets a little chainsaw cord. So he
Yeah,
pulls
because Poochie, or I just looked at his name, Puchita,
Puchita.
and he is a chainsaw demon,
Yeah.
and he befriends the demon,
Hmm.
and he treats it essentially as like a pet. It's a little dog to him,
Yeah.
and yeah, he's running errands and he's trying to get money uh,
Yeah. Well.
for the yakuza.
Yeah.
And the yakuza, after he goes and gets the money, uh, I think he actually even like completes getting the money. Either he was short on the money or he's got the money, and they still didn't have any use for him, so they
Right.
killed him.
Yeah.
And uh, and the demon actually crawls into his chest and becomes like his heart essentially, and revives him by sacrificing itself and combining with him.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of like a parasite
Yeah.
kind of deal.
And that's really cool because once he does that, now Shinji has, like I said, this cord. When he pulls the cord, he transforms to this thing right here you see in the background. Chainsaw Man. It's basically the same body, but his arms get chainsaw blades that grow out of his arms like Wolverine on both arms, and then his head becomes a chainsaw with teeth, a demon chainsaw head with teeth and a chainsaw coming out of it. So he just goes around just cutting up foods
Ooh.
and doing crazy acrobatics, and blood's everywhere, flying all over the place, and it's crazy. I think there's a lot of regeneration abilities too, because
Hmm.
he can like cut off his arms and legs and almost be dying, and he just turn Chainsaw Man and recover completely.
Yeah, because essentially that form is a double-edged sword to him, because
Hmm.
it's always constantly bleeding him, because the blades are opening up his flesh as they're running, and so
Yeah,
he's always like bleeding from just activating his power.
yeah, yeah. It's a pretty gruesome manga to read, and actually, so the series is actually in two parts. Part one, we follow. I don't know where the anime is. There, it is animated.
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
know how far it goes, but there's a whole giant like battle that happens with him and the main boss, and then once he finishes that, right now it's in part two, where he's still Chainsaw Man and he keeps going, but in the manga there's a new threat and there's a new direction in how everything's going that kind of changes a lot of the dynamics. But
Hmm.
one of the cool things that I really love about a couple of cool things. Number one, there's a concept when you talk about powers and techniques and stuff. Every character has. There's a couple other people, including himself, including Shinji. They're called Devil Men. Um, Basically, like himself, being combined with this thing. You have your human form, and then you can turn into your Devil Man form, where it's like you're a cross hybrid between whatever that item is. Um, for instance, he can turn into a Chainsaw Man. There's another girl that is almost like a love interest. Um, she's right there. Her name is Power. She is an actual demon, but she is the demon of blood. And all these demons and all these different things that pop up are a fear that humanity actually has, but is manifested as a demon. So if you are afraid of chainsaws, then if enough people are afraid of chainsaws, he can become Chainsaw Man. If you are afraid of blood, then Power will be manifested out of that, and she's a blood demon, so she can make blood powers. She can make things out of blood. Um, there's also a wolf demon. People
Hmm.
can make a contract. Multiple people can make contracts with the same demon to use the
Hmm.
powers. So another main character you see right here on the right of Shinji, he has a contract. That's why he's doing his fingers like a wolf. Um, he can summon the wolf. I forget what his contract is exactly, but he can use the wolf's powers and summon it or whatever. Um, and one more, there's a
No,
favorite. Oh,
that
go ahead.
is Machina.
My
She
thing,
has the wolf head like contract where she can summon the head of the wolf can come up and like basically consume the opponent.
yeah,
And then there's others that have like different like I guess parts of the wolf that they've made contracts with that come and do things.
yeah,
Now I think the guy, the other protagonist, the one with the black hair,
uh-huh,
he has some other kind of contract with the demon that he made one with the demon that can see into the future, right? And like the demon's like, hey, I want to gain access to your eye because I want to see this thing happen. When it happens, I can tell you how you'll die. Do you want to know? And he goes, I don't want to know. As long as I can achieve what I want to achieve, just get in my eye.
man,
But
I forgot about that. I completely
yeah,
forgot about that.
yeah.
Yeah, that see, and that's so original. That's so different, so interesting because there's so many possibilities that I couldn't even thought of. Like, make contracts and all work together, but you sacrifice a little thing to get it or whatever. Um, so you have your human form, you have your devil man form, and you have devils that are out there. But then Shinji, he's one of the few that
Dingy,
actually was that.
dingy.
Dingy. Dingy can actually take it to another level and go into his full devil form. Um, and it's a more advanced form of itself where he has like four arms and all of them have like two chainsaws in them. He's super strong. He's like invincible in a way. Um, the actual chainsaw man, he's like the Reaper in hell. He can like he's the one that kills all of the demons. It's a whole crazy thing. Like he got this ultimate power. And but you know what really makes the series interesting is not just all the devils. There's a shark devil. Um, it's also like the dynamics of like how sad some stuff is. Like some people die. It's almost like a Game of Thrones. It's like you think, oh, this is the main character. Oh, that person died. It's like, wait a minute, they're gonna come back, right? No,
Mm-hmm.
they're dead. That's it. They're dead. Some of your favorite people die. Some people don't even care about die. There's some really cool devils that show up. That there's a fall devil. Like there's a fear of falling. There's a gun devil, fear of guns, a fear of swords, a fear of bombs, so on, so on. There's so many possibilities, and I think that's what makes the series interesting. But the there is a criticism I will give it. The only criticism I don't like about it sometimes is that it can be some of the chapters are really it can be about nothing. um, I don't know how the anime does, but there are some chapters where it's like 15 pages of they're kind of like talking, and you can tell it's a setup chapter. It's going to be doing something else,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of dialogue where it's like, oh, that's interesting, but then when it's over, it's like, dang, it was a really good character moment, but it's like, yeah, it's really slow now. Like it's really slowed down. You know, there's not enough events going on naturally. It's natural, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, man, probably need to start picking up the pace because it's losing momentum here. It loses momentum. That's what it is.
Mm.
Um, but yeah,
Now
no,
the manga is ended. Like there's a finale.
no, it's still going.
Is it?
Yeah, uh huh. So
Oh,
it had
okay.
a finale, but then there's a part two that's happening now after the finale,
Okay. All
and
right.
it's not called Chainsaw Man Two, or it's like, all right, next chapter. It's like he
And is
probably
it still following Denji, or is it just
mhm,
something else?
yep, still following Denji. So I will say Denji's not the only main character anymore.
Hmm.
So once it ended with Denji and it was like they beat the last guy or whatever, um, it picked up and there's a female protagonist now, and she has her own like devil that she is associated with.
Mm.
And actually, it took a couple of chapters, but Denji didn't come back in until like maybe like 10 chapters later after that. And
Hmm.
it's like, oh, Denji's still here. I thought it was like a whole nother series or something maybe, but
Oh, okay.
Denji's back, and now we're interacting with Denji again. We're kind of following him again a little bit, and the next chapter might be her. So it's kind of like it goes back and forth. But
Hmm. Yeah. Here's another thing for anybody who hasn't started watching it or reading. This anime series is not afraid to X someone out.
yeah,
Man, goodness. Yeah, so that's all I'll say there.
yeah, very bloody, very gory, very explicit.
It's very high stakes. Like there's no collecting, the Dragon Balls and wishing somebody back or going to the Lazarus
Nope,
pit and reviving them.
nope,
Mm-mm,
nope.
mm-mm.
But that's all I have on Chainsaw Man. Anything else you want to say before I move on?
No, 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 no. I will say I was wrong on the guy with the black hair. You were right. Uh, what's his name? Aki.
Aki.
Uh, he has several contracts with demons.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
Mm-hmm.
he has the contract with the cursed devil, which I think that demon is sealed in his sword.
Mm-hmm.
And he did have the contract with the fox devil, but he lost the contract with the fox devil because he attacked Katana Man.
Who's that again?
You remember Katana Man is the demon with the swords.
Oh, Katana Man. Yeah, he looks just like
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man, but with like
Hmm.
blades.
Yep.
He attacked him.
He attacked him with the fox demon.
And Fox Demon didn't like that.
No, because the fox demon was like, I think I ate something that's displeasant. And then all of a sudden, Katana Man just burst out of the demon's head.
Mm.
And I've never seen him use the fox demon after that. And then that's when he went and had to make a contract with the future devil. And
Mm.
then the future devil, when he went to go and make a contract with him, that's when he said, "Ooh, I can see your future, and I can tell you exactly how you'll die. Do you want to know?"
Mm-hmm.
And he says it's going to be magnificent. And he's like, "I don't care. As long as you give me the power, just get in my eye." And yeah, the future devil was like, "I want front row seats till when you die. It's
Mm.
going to be magnificent or glorious or something like that." And it's like,
That's so messed up.
what? He's
That's
like, "I
so
want
messed
front
up,
row
yo.
seat to when this happens." And he goes, "Look, I don't care. Just tell me, you know." I think the only thing he wanted to know is if he would be able to defeat his big bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the future devil was like, "Yes, but do you want me to tell you how you will die?" And he's like, "I don't care. As long as you can give me the power to end what I want to end, I don't care how I'll end up dying." And he's
Mm.
like, "Okay, I
That's
want what
so.
let me get your eye." And that was his contract, is he gave up his eye to the demon so that it can have front row seat to when
He
he
went out.
dies.
That's so dark, man. Just like hearing that alone is like that's only one thing that happens in the series that gives it its like intensity. You
Oh
know?
yeah, yeah, it's intense. It's intense.
Yeah. Sorry about the light, and I guess the sun's going down. All right. I forget which one was the next one, so I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into it. Oh, Record of Ragnarok.
Okay.
Record of Ragnarok. So this one came out. I didn't hear about this until it was an anime on Netflix. I want to say maybe 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago,
Mm-hmm.
a year ago, 2 years ago, maybe. Um, and when it came out, I heard I didn't know what it was, and then I watched it, and I saw some YouTubers talking about how bad the animation was, and I was like, what? Let me watch it again. I watched it. I was like, I freaking love this series. I absolutely love this series. I would have had it higher, but of course the ones above it are just much stronger. I've actually been following the other three a lot longer too. But Record of Riding Rod. So basically, the idea is that the gods are fed up with the humans, the mortals. I have to say mortals. They're fed up with them, and they're just gonna wipe them out. They're done, and that it's not even just like it's all the gods. It's Greek mythology,
Mm-hmm.
Indian, Hindu, Celtic, Norse. All the mythologies are out there, and all the gods exist in one plane of godhood in the heavens. With Zeus, Greek mythology is still the top here, and Zeus is our main villain. He's the main god who's like, I'm going to wipe them all out. But there's one person. I think it's Brunhilde. Um, it's spelled different
Mm-hmm.
ways from Norse mythology. She speaks up on behalf of the humans to say, no, we need them. They're awesome. They're great. And that's not fair for you to just wipe them out. I propose a tournament. I think it's 11 rounds, and 6 out of 5 or 6 out of 11 is best. And whoever wins. So Zeus, he entertains it. You know, he's like, all right, one mortal versus one god. And the lineup is just whatever it is. They can see the
Mm-hmm.
lineup of who's going to fight. They see the gods first, and then they can choose the mortals second. Amazing series. They have a mortal. They will team up with one of the Valkyries, and the Valkyrie will become the weapon of the human, and it will give them some kind of fighting chance against a god,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can survive. And so what we have here on this picture I'm showing, these are the first 5 rounds. On the left is the mortal. On the right is the god.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first round we have Lubu, I think he was a mighty. These are real people. That's another thing. These are real mortal people that existed in real life versus a god from mythology, whether it was real or not, whatever you believe. Lubu, I think he was a Chinese warrior from like you even see him in Dynasty Warriors. He's a main
Yeah.
character in that. He's pretty savage and pretty strong versus Thor. Doesn't look our typical Thor. None of these characters do, but it's a rendition. It's a Japanese rendition. Second round, you have Adam, the first man of humanity and Christianity, versus Zeus, the king of
Yeah.
king of the heavens, Greek mythology. Third round, you have Sasaki. I remember that just from the show. Sasaki. They do that. They do that a lot. He was a great swordsman in real life. I forget if it was Japanese or Chinese. That he's actually featured in a lot of different animes and stories.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Mayamashi Mamoto or something like that, the two greatest swordsmen, and I think he was undefeated or something like that. But anyway, so Sasaki versus Poseidon, Zeus's older brother. That was in the second volume or the fourth volume, and then the fifth round. Was that fifth?
No, 4.
It was the fourth round. It was the fifth volume, but the fourth round, you had the Jack the Ripper, which in real life nobody knows who Jack the Ripper is.
Yeah.
That's what's so cool about that. Versus Hercules himself, which is like, who's gonna win? You would think the gods would win right off bat automatically, and at first they do. No real spoilers. You can go watch it. The gods win the first round, and right after that, the gods win the second round. And it's like, oh, we're fucked. We're not winning. You know, it's done. It's over. And then it's Sasaki versus Poseidon. It's like, there's no way. He pulls it off. He is the sword god himself. He pulls it off. He kills Poseidon. Fourth round, the biggest upset. Talk about underdog. The Grim, I keep calling him Grim Reaper. Jack the Ripper defeats Heracles. So I love the series. I love seeing the underdog. I love seeing like, how is the human going to win? And I definitively watch this and read this not knowing who's going to win. The way they set it up, and I think you could really root for either character. And I'll make this my last point. What I love about this is that the gods hate them so much, or most of them. I'll say the most of them. They hate the humans so much. By the time they finish their fight, before they come to the last, all right, this is it. We're gonna win. We're gonna lose. By the time they get to the end, the god has found respect with the human before the round is over. So they walk away, whether they win or lose, having a completely different mindset on who they're fighting and mortals in general. So yeah, I think they're on the 10th. They're on the 9th or 10th fight right now. So yeah, that's my experience with it. Any thoughts? Anything you want to add?
Mm, yeah. Okay. So I stumbled on this on Netflix. Of course, I did not know that there was a manga for this, but saw it on Netflix. I'm like, huh, what is this? I think I was in between waiting on new anime to come out or something of that sort, and I just
Mm-hmm.
was like, what's this? Ragnarok. I'm thinking something Norse mythology. I'm gonna hear something about Thor and Odin. Okay, of course, I'll check it out. I'm a sucker for mythology and learning about the mythos characters, whether it be Greek, Roman, Celt, uh, Norse. Yeah, if it's mythological, I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh wait, this is like a rumble royale of the gods versus humanity. Okay, piques my interest. Okay, and humanity is on the line, and I'm like, well, now hold on, humanity ain't got a shot. They
No.
ain't got not one chance. And then they started plucking humans from throughout the entire vast expanse of humanity, and then pairing them up with these Valhalla deities, and these deities pair so well with them that it actually gives them fighting chance. And I'm like, oh, I like this. I like this. Well, like I think the one when it came to Jack the Ripper, I think she was able to give him unlimited projectile ability. So he was just constantly going in his bag and in his cloak and grabbing out all kinds of assortments of knives, right? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
so he had anything, and like, he was always just coming in and coming out with. He just had blades for days, and so I like that. It they gave them fighting chance, and like it was surprising to see when humanity was getting the upper hand on all of these higher deities, these gods.
Yep.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it provides a really original way, like you were saying, how they fight against the gods. Just to go through a few. I confirmed that they're on the 10th fight, and I forget if it's. Let me make sure. Is it 11 or 13? I forget how many matches it's supposed to be. Um,
I only see 10 at the moment.
yeah, there's 10, but I think they're supposed to go up. I'm gonna say 13. I think they're supposed to go up to 13 fights.
Mm.
Um, they're on 10 right now. And the person they have fighting this one is actually someone I had never heard of. I guess he was a really young. I think he was like in his 20s, a really young commander of a Chinese army, and or Chinese or Japanese, I forget which one. He was like something, the manslayer. It's like Okya the manslayer or something like that. And apparently he was like really like a prodigy of fighting with the sword or something like that. But he ended up dying not from combat but from like pneumonia or something. It sucks. It's like he
Mm.
went out in a bad way. It's like, dang, you didn't even fight. You didn't even die fighting or something like that. But like you were saying, like Jack the Ripper, some of their powers and stuff, some of the weapons they used to fight against the gods that made it interesting was Lu Bu. He used a spear or a pole staff type that
Hmm.
was like super powerful, and these weapons can harm the gods, and when the gods die,
Hmm.
they die forever. They go away. They're erased from, there's no reviving or anything like that. Adam, I think Adam against Zeus, I think he used like some brass knuckles or something like that, or it was
Brass
something.
knuckles. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was like a power to, I don't know. There's something about his stamina. He was able to like keep up with Zeus even after dying. Because he lost from he couldn't survive the fight. But even after he died, he was still fighting apparently. Like he was still like throwing blows with Zeus, and Zeus was like, "Yeah, he was dead like 10 minutes ago, but I guess his body was still going or something." It was like, "What? That's crazy." Um, Sasaki had twin blades that were made from god material. Um, and Jack the Ripper had gloves. That was probably the most creative one. I think
The
he's my
gloves.
favorite.
That's what it was. It was his gloves. Yeah.
Yeah, his gloves, anything he touched became the
Touch.
god weapon.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And I think he was so creative because he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna fight in London, okay?" And then so he's running around London. He made these like thin wires that he touched. So if you ran across it, you'll get cut. He threw a clock. I think he cut a building in half and
Big
then touched
Ben. Yeah.
and then it fell. I was like, what? Um, and then, but the most creative thing he did was at the end was where Heracles was like, "I got you. There's nothing you can do now." He's going to hit him with the final swing. No, before that, Heracles like beat him up and stuff, and his blood was going all over the place and everything. Like Heracles' blood was bleeding all over him, and so, or was it his own blood? I forget. It was blood, and it's all over his hands. So when he got up real close to Heracles, and he's about to do it, and then like he feigns like he's about to fall, and he like goes up into him and like stabs right through his body and kills him. It was like, oh, that's what he was doing the whole time. And people were booing him the entire fight. Even the humans were booing him because it was like, this guy's a creep. We hate this guy, But it gets you a W though. So
Mm-hmm.
and every fight is like that. Every fight has a trick that you never saw coming, and it's very interesting. I gotta say, the only criticism I have of the whole series, I don't have enough of it. I don't have. It only comes out maybe like once a month, but when it comes out, it's like 50 chapters. I mean, 50 pages, 50 pages. So it's on chapter 91 right now, 90, 91. So yeah, I actually watched the anime when it comes out too. This is one of the only ones I do that for.
Okay. Okay.
All right, so going on to the next one, I have a feeling I know what it is. It's probably. Oh, okay, okay. The I was expecting something else, but the Four Knights of the Apocalypse.
Okay. Okay.
I was actually watching this today, actually, before we got on stream. That's how dedicated I am. Um, so this is the sequel series to
Seven Deadly Sins.
Seven Deadly Sins. Yeah, thank you. I was brain farting there. And it actually follows the children and some of their companions of the Seven Deadly Sins, and just kind of the aftermath of after defeating the demon clan and the demon lord, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of ended off with the threat of chaos. It was King Arthur and Camelot. They introduced that whole thing, and it's like a more fantasized version of it. Where King Arthur has the power of chaos, and he was left with this immense responsibility, but it seemed like it ended off well until you get into this series, where it's no real secret that King Arthur has become a villain. He is the main antagonist, and we don't know why. They still haven't said why to this day. It's on chapter 124, I think. And we actually just went through a time skip. in the manga. So there's a lot of differences, but it's a very vibrant series. It has the same charm and originality as the Seven Deadly Sins, and it, I don't know, it's just great. So it's a really great, humbling. It feels like Dragon Ball. It feels like Dragon Ball and Goku when he was a little kid going on an adventure. He meets a bunch of friends and they all come together and fight against like that General Tao or the Red Ribbon Army or something like that. That's exactly how it feels, and that's exactly why I like it. And it might not get to the Dragon Ball Z level, but I think it's the predecessor or it's the descendant of it. Yeah. Any thoughts? Anything?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Seven Deadly Sins. And when I started watching um, the Knights of the Apocalypse, I was thinking, okay, all right, this is starting off a little different. And then I thought it was interesting because who you thought you should end up following in the beginning would
Hmm.
be clearly obvious. It would be uh, Tristan, right? That's what I thought. I'm
Hmm.
like,
Yep.
of course, you're gonna follow the child of man. What is wrath? Sin or wrath? Uh,
Oh,
uh,
Meliodas.
Meliodas. Yes, I'm like, of course you're following Meliodas' child. He's going to be the lead, no brainer.
Right.
Nope, you're not following him. And so I thought that was interesting because I'm like, ooh, they're following someone else. Someone else is, uh, the main focus, or at least in the beginning in the anime. I don't know how where they go with the manga, but you're
Hmm.
following Percival, and so yeah, that was very interesting. And another thing that I thought was very cool is that Percival has his own little troop.
Hmm.
Like you notice, like he goes and he starts building his own team, but they're not the knights of apocalypse, with the exception of Sin, not
Hmm.
Sin, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the Fox Sin.
Yep.
But then you learn that he's not really Fox Sin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it was interesting. I like that. I don't know. I'm hoping that his original team um, is still viable because I guess the way that the series is setting it up is that you need these four knights. It's
Hmm.
called the Knights of the Apocalypse, but you're following Tristan and you're learning. I mean, not Tristan, Percival. You're following
Hmm.
Percival, and Percival is going around and he's collecting a team that's following him. But I think the overall goal is to get the other four knights: war, famine, pestilence, and death. Um, and so, yeah, in the anime at least, you're only introduced to death and war. So I don't
Hmm.
think they haven't come across famine yet, and they haven't come across pestilence.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't. I'm still watching the newest season. It just came out. Maybe like I think it's this week or last week. It the newest couple episodes. Um, I will answer a little bit of your question that his friends here, this troop, they are still relevant.
Okay.
Even in the very latest chapter, I think the last chapter, they're all together and they're about to go out and their next little arc is about to start or whatever. Um, so it's really cool. It's really, really cool how everybody stays relevant. I love that. Even in Seven Deadly Sins and in this one, they keep it up. Every character gets a power up. Every character is relevant. Every character has a part to play. Even some of the background characters get a power up. And it's like, whoa, that one old guy from the very first whatever became a demon over here or whatever, some kind of power up or whatever. Um, the cast grows, but they stay relevant. It has a connection, and I love it. And actually, this is a great time to mention this too. before we actually did these streams, we mentioned a certain topic that I think this is a great example of, that certain series like Dragon Ball Z
Mm.
failed at keeping their side characters relevant, because Goku was always that Charizard that you had in the front of your Pokemon party that you would use to wipe out the Elite Four, and then maybe you picked up a Vegeta slash Mewtwo along the way that could help you fight the Elite Four, a legendary. But for the most part, the Weedle and the Kakuna and the Caterpie,
Trash. It's trash. Trash.
Caterpie, that Butterfree that you were fighting so hard against, the Krillin, in the very early
cannon fodder.
they're
just meant to die to like make your main character upset, and then he's like, "Oh, you killed my Krillin again. I'm gonna avenge him."
It's like, I'm not wasting my high potion on you.
No, I'll just, if Weedle dies, he dies. If he dies, he dies. Like, that's it.
I only got 5 high potions left.
I'm saving that for the Charizard, man.
For the Charizard. And that's Dragon Ball Z's problem. But series is like this one do a great job at switching out the Charizard, or putting Charizard to the side, and letting your Caterpie become a Butterfree, letting your Geodude become a Golem. Everybody stays together. You don't see the power up all the time. The power up could be something really asinine, like, yeah, I have this one orb over here. All you got to do is touch it, and you get superpowers. Times 10. But it works. It works. It's simple. It's fun, and so, like I said, it's only 124 chapters in this one. I think 7 Deadly Sins was like 300 something chapters. Easy to get through, easy to follow. And actually, if you look at it, not every character, but a few of the characters have a name from the 13 Knights of the Round Table, but they're tweaked a little bit. So Percival's Percival. Later on, you meet Lancelot.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, King Arthur is King Arthur. Merlin, we already know Merlin from the 7 Deadly Sins. You do meet Guinevere, who's the wife. I think she's Arthur's wife, but she has an affair with Lancelot, and that starts the whole thing. You do meet Gawain, or whatever his name is, however you say it.
Yeah, Gawain.
And actually, the girl right here, his friend that he travels with, the lying power, she can tell the truth and stuff. Her name is Anne Galahad, or Anne Galahad, which is Galahad. So, yeah. And I think there's a 1 or 2 more I'm forgetting, because I don't know all the names. There's those are the main ones that I know of, but I think there's 1 or 2 more that pop up later on too. But yeah, it was a great series. I can't think of a criticism. The only criticism, honestly, is as we start going up, I don't have a lot of criticisms for some of these top ones. I can't think of anything. There's nothing bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
Any last thoughts?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. I already know what these top 2 are. I know what the top 2 are. I know. I already know you know what one of them is, so I'm gonna save that. We'll get into that here in a second, but you probably won't know this one.
Okay.
Probably won't know this one. JoJo Lands. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
Okay, yeah.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. So we're on this is part 9 of. Wait. What was that? What was that? Deep sigh for. What was that? You got beef with JoJo?
I just could not follow JoJo.
JoJo.
JoJo is it's a unique kind of interesting. It's a unique kind of interesting. it was not my speed. You know what? I like JoJo in the first 2 to 3 um,
Yeah,
generations,
yeah,
and I thought, man, I thought that was very interesting that you can actually see your main protagonist's lineage, like kind of like
yeah,
how they tried to and didn't do well with Goku. It's like, oh man, Goku had a child. Well,
yeah,
awesome. We're gonna start following Gohan. No, no, we're not following him. Oh,
no,
okay. Well, he had another child. Okay, so we're gonna start following Goten, right? No, no,
yeah,
you're not gonna follow him. Okay, did Gohan have a child? So are we gonna start learning about him? No, no, no. You dropped a great chance, kind of like with Naruto. We're following Boruto. Great, pass the torch. So I
yeah,
like with JoJo. I love that they were passing the torch. What was it? Jonathan. What? Who's the grandfather of them all?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Jonathan was first. He was the main protagonist in part one. Part
mm-hmm.
two was Joseph. That's my favorite one.
Joseph. Yep. Yep.
Joseph, and then you had Jotaro. He was the
Yep.
third one. That's the one I
Mm-hmm.
think everybody loves. It's the most shonen style. Because he had platinum. I forget, platinum purple or something like that. And then part four, you had Josuke.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, sure. Yeah, that's when I was done. That's
yeah.
when I was done. Because
Well,
then at some point, like his lineage and his main rival. Some don't they cross descendants, right? Am I misunderstanding?
part five. So part five follows another kid named Giorno, and it's like, oh man, I'm forgetting it now. But it's Italian. It was like Giorno Giovanna or something like that, which is
Mm-hmm.
like JoJo. But basically, Dio in part
Dio,
one,
yeah.
yeah, Dio killed Jonathan, and then he took his head and put it on Jonathan's body. So now he took over Jonathan's body in part three, right?
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere between part one and part three, he went out and had kids with all these different women and all this kind of stuff. One of those kids happened to be Giorno in Italy, and he's our main protagonist that we follow. So is Dio's spirit with JoJo's body, so it's kind of like a mixture of spirit. So as a
Okay, I was
JoJo's,
wondering how that
yeah,
hybrid happened because I'm like, unless JoJo had a daughter somewhere, and then like his granddaughter or his great granddaughter ends up messing with Dio, is that how
mm,
that happened? But still, I don't know. I feel like it's still JoJo's descendant. I mean, because it's still
yeah,
his
it's,
DNA. There's
it's
there's
his.
no there's no
Mhm.
Dio DNA.
Yeah, exactly. It's still Jonathan's DNA. In fact, you can kind of say everything about him is Jonathan's, JoJo, except for his hair. His hair is
Yeah, he's
yellow.
blind. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he's still another JoJo through and through. Still clever. Still has a star. I think he has a star on his. They all have a star tattoo somewhere on their bodies to show, hey, you're a descendant. Not tattoo, birthmark. But yeah, you're right. That's one of the things I loved about this series. That's again original. We were just saying you follow the descendants of each one: Jonathan, then Joseph, and then Jotaro, Josuke, and then Giorno, and then Jotaro.
Jolene, right?
Yep,
Where's Jolene?
Jolene.
There's a girl in there.
Yeah, that's part six is Jolene, and then at the end of part six, it was really cool, really really cool. It actually did a time warp where everything started over. So that was the end of that first six, that whole generation, because a thing happens with one of one of the stands.
Hmm.
He has the power to like advance time, and the main villain had the power, so he advanced time so much, he did it like a million years over, that everybody basically died and came back, died, came back, died, came back, until it restarted everything. So all the characters that you knew, like Jotaro, Josuke, they're gone, and it's like a new dimension. It's like they're back, but they're different. So from part 7, you start over. There's a new Jonathan named Johnny, and he goes through a whole thing. He's a new in part 7. Part 8, Johnny has some kids, and then it goes to Josuke again. So now part 9 is where we're at. I think it started about 2 years ago. Maybe not even that. Maybe it's only a year ago, actually. I think it was a year ago. Part 9 follows 2 characters. The one in the orange here is called Dragona Joestar.
Okay.
And the one that's kneeling down with the hoodie on in the blue in the left corner, that's our main character. Shoot, I forget what his name is. You fought Jodio. That's what it is. Jodio Joestar. And basically so another cool thing about this, with each part, they start out at a different time. So part 1 starts out in the 50s. Part 2 is like the 1970s or something like that. Part 3 is the 80s, so on and so forth. Well, JoJo Lands came out a year ago. It's like the 2020s. And these kids are like 16, 17 in the 2020s. So they have like they have cell phones, they have cars, they're talking about, current event stuff, current music artists and stuff like that. So it was like, whoa, this is different. The powers were always interesting with the JoJos. They usually it's like a persona kind of thing. It's like whatever your personality type is, it's going to determine what your power is. Anything from controlling fire, stopping time, and changing body shifting and stuff like that. And it's only like maybe 20 chapters in, because they come out once a month. So there's not a lot to really go off of, but it's a series. When I see the chapter pops up, I stop, I read it, because it is so interesting, so cool. Last thing I'll say is that the way they do the powers and stuff is so different. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna use fire to burn you up. No, they'll do it. In the last series, JoJo 8, they had somebody that can control heat, and he would cause nosebleeds. And they don't explain the powers at first. They'll have it where you'll just be in a room and it's like, all right, the enemy is in here somewhere. Where are they? And next thing you know, your nose will start bleeding. It's like, what? I'm being attacked by the enemy. It's like in their mind. It's like, where are they? Where are they? And then the blood will start coming out of their mouth and start like passing out. It's like, this attack, what is this attack? You'll think like they're just making you die. But no, he's controlling the temperature in the room. He's focusing the heat in your brain so that you like pass out. And it's so creative how they do these powers that it just makes you think about real science and real, science, I guess. But the only criticism I'll give to the series, it's kind of a feature that I think people like it. I kind of start looking at it and I'm like, all right, it is what it is. I think it's a little too flamboyant.
Yeah.
I think even the main character, one of the main characters here in the orange is, even the guys and the girls all have a very feminine way. They do like a Vogue pose. They'll be like, or whatever. And I'm like, why are you standing like that? Stand normal. Just be normal.
They're real sus.
All of them are very sus. And but like I said, I just kind of like, you know what? That's just what they do. You gotta love your boy for, that's your boy. That's,
Yeah, I stopped in the 3rd generation of the Joestars. And I was just like, yeah, they go in a different direction now.
Yeah.
These other Joestars is a little, yeah, they strange. They strange different.
Yeah. So
I don't think grandfather Jonathan Joestar knew that this is what his DNA was gonna do.
No, not at all. But any last thoughts?
No, I'm surprised that this is that high on your list. If you were ranking them in order.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, it was like, man, if all these chapters had a new chapter out right now, which one would I stop and read first? It would be this one, and
Okay.
then probably Seven Deadly Sins, or Four Nights, Record of Riding Rock. Stop everything. Chainsaw just kind of goes down the list. Um, what was I gonna say? I felt like there was something else I was gonna say, but anyways, doesn't matter. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. All of these actually have an anime. So even though I'm saying they're the manga and everything like that,
Hmm.
except for JoJo, I think it's still too new. It's the only one that doesn't have an anime yet. But yeah, these all have current new seasons for the most part,
Yeah.
or upcoming seasons. But my last one is no real surprise. It's pretty easy. You already know what it is.
It's
I,
One Piece.
I tried to do
Yeah,
something
I
different,
knew it.
but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. It's One Piece. This is a
Yeah.
phenomenon, man. One
Straw
Piece.
hats. Straw hats. Okay.
It's a phenomenon. This is the only thing up there with Dragon Ball Z that has made such an impact that it has for good reason. Um, it has a meta to it. It has a whole community behind it. It has movies, live action, video games, books, magazines. I mean, it's a vibe, man. It's a generation, and literally, it's 27 years old, um, and it's still going. It's still going.
They're still going.
Oh man, even all of us that love the series kind of want it to end. um, but I mean, I could talk about this for days, but I'll just hit the highlights. It's a really great series. Luffy, he's the main character. He's a pirate. He wants to go out and be a pirate and be the king of the pirates. It's a title that you get once you find the One Piece. Nobody knows what it is, but Gold Roger was a great pirate king before. He left the One Piece for everybody to find. It started a whole age of piracy to go find this treasure. Luffy meets different characters along the way. Zoro, who's his first mate, awesome swordsman, fight three sword style, one sword in his mouth. Nami, she's a cat burglar, awesome navigator. Usopp, sharpshooter, shoot anything. He's also really funny and silly. Oh, and a coward. He's probably the weakest character on the ship. Sanji, third strongest character on the ship. He's the cook. He can cook anything. He also fights with his feet, and he loves women. Chopper, he's a reindeer that ate a fruit that turns him into a human. Plus, he's a doctor. He's trying to find a cure for every disease in the world. Robin, she's not navigator. She's an archaeologist and historian.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually my favorite female in the whole series too. I love everything about her. Tragic background that caused her to be a loner and one of the most wanted women in the world. She joined the crew so that she could find the lost history. Frankie's a shipwright. Tragic history about him, but he built the ship for the Straw Hats so they can sail to find the One Piece. We have Brooke, who's a skeleton. He ate a fruit that allowed him to have a second life after he died. He's a musician and he has soul powers. And we have one more is Jinbei. He's a fish man, and he just wants to join the crew. And I think his goal is to give his life for the crew at some point or something like that. Man, I think the only criticism I can really give it is that it's too long. Should have ended a while ago. The pacing is off a lot. Even reading the chapters, it drags a lot. Even the last couple chapters recently, it's like, really? You just said that last chapter? Really? We're dragging this on again? And there's some, you can tell when the author, the artist, he was going one direction, you can tell he flipped it to go the other direction. Like you could tell he didn't plan that out. He didn't plan it. And yeah, man, the anime is just as long as the manga. But any thoughts, any comments on this one?
Yeah, so with One Piece, it's one of those anime where it's just like I I definitely get the criticism that One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball franchise get with the filler episodes. If you're the anime watcher, I don't know if they do fillers necessarily a lot in the mangas.
Mm-mm.
Um, but oh yeah, in the anime, man, you're getting fillers. You're getting force fed. In fact, sometimes you get fillers that are just recaps of like the previous two episodes, and it's like, what is that? I was waiting a whole week for another episode, and this is what you give me, a recap? Man, y'all should have just left it alone. Like, just tell me you'll get back with me in 2 weeks. Don't give me a, a recap episode. Like that
Mhm.
is, very frustrating sometimes. Just be anticipating the new episode, and then you're like, yes, it's a new episode. Let me watch it real quick. It's just a recap.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, and so another thing is, if I ever wanted to introduce anybody to One Piece, I can't. If they have not watched it, you are never getting into One Piece.
Mm.
Never. Because there's no amount of time you're gonna have to watch it from the beginning to catch up to now.
Yeah.
This how many listen, this is like a 27 years, right? So they have like thousands of episodes, man. You're not catching up. You're not catching up unless you just have no time. I mean, unless you have all the time in the world to just from waking moment to when you go to sleep, watch nothing but One Piece. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way you're watching it. I can't put any non One Piece watcher onto One Piece. Like One Piece just has One Piece fans.
Mm.
They don't have new fans joining.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I get the criticism. Um, 'Cause it's true. It's very true. It's very real. I think that's why I probably stopped watching the anime. Honestly, I keep hearing a lot of people talk about, oh, you gotta watch it, especially now. They got a there's an artist that's been doing it recently that uses a very, I'm not even gonna say dynamic. Dynamic was Gurren Lagann. That's dynamic. Um, it's a very fluid kind of dynamic where it's like watercolor, but watery, almost like a Studio Ghibli kind of style. But it's very exaggerated and stuff. That it's like, how do you even think of stuff like that? Kind of good. Um, but I still can't get into it. 'Cause I just don't have, like you said, I don't have the time to sit there and watch it and stuff. I watched it 10 years ago when I first got into it or whatever, and once I caught up around Punk Hazard era. Fisherman Island was done. Punk Hazard. I got into it then, and I've been sticking with it since in the manga. But yeah, I love the series. Can't wait for it to end. In a good way. In a good way. But all right. So that's all my manga. Now I'm just gonna go just real quick through some my 5 honorable mention anime.
Okay. Okay.
Um, in no particular order. I don't know if these really are considered. Um, sorry, I didn't really set this up as well as I should have. Ooh, that's horrible. Dang. I'm just gonna see if I can pull this up. Here we go. Now I'm just gonna change the screen. Is that right? I don't know if that's right. Here, maybe I can just do this. There we go. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Blood of Zeus.
Uh-huh.
First saw it, I was like, okay, we got some generic spinoff runoff thing or whatever. You watch it and it's like, holy crap, that's pretty cool. It's not your typical anime like Japanese anime. It's definitely more like your Avatar, Last Airbender kind of anime style, American anime.
Hmm.
But it is original. It's not just Heracles or Perseus or whatever. It's like an original demigod, son of Zeus, and it's a pretty deep story. It gets pretty dark, especially season two. Season two just came out a couple of months ago or just recently,
Hmm.
and it gets really in depth. And people die, and things happen, and it's like, whoa, I did not see that coming. This is an original Greek mythology story, I think, but I'm loving every minute of it. Um, that's all I got on that one. Any comments?
No, I stumbled on it. Just trying to see if Netflix had any good anime that other sites and sources didn't have. And I said, huh, I've never heard of this. Looks interesting enough. Again, I'm a sucker for mythology,
Yep.
and I'm seeing something that's about mythos. I'm going to give it a shot.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yes, sir. The next one, is we already kind of talked about it, but it's the Seven Deadly Sins. I pulled this up like it's from the anime. I put in anime, so it looks like you already kind of met a few characters already. I kind of mentioned already, but I think this is an anime that it does the manga justice. It's fun. It's got all the adventure and everything to it, and I mean, there's not really much else I can say about it outside of the what we already said about the manga, but it's one I'm following and it's really good. Really liking it. About yourself?
Yeah. Um, Again, I like the fact that uh, a few of the characters are the offspring of the Seven Deadly Sins characters. Um, Especially when you know, like, the pairing of the Seven Deadly Sins, the ones that did get together with each other and paired off.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, it's interesting to see them. And then it's not like they just leave off and just solely focus on, these new characters and their children. You still get revisited by the parents, and so I like, getting to see um, Gunther when he comes back to train. Um, who was he training? He was training with him, um, and then you get to see. I don't even still know the deal. What's going on with um, the mage Merlin and
Yeah.
her deal with um, what's the king of the antagonist right now,
Arthur?
Arthur. Like, I think they hinted to, like, she had previous ties to Arthur,
Yeah.
but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, like, what's her whole situation now. Like, it just picks up and she's just with Arthur, and it's like, what?
Yeah. So at the end of Seven Deadly Sins, this is all I remember. At the end of Seven Deadly Sins, it kind of revealed everybody's past and their powers, where they've been, like, for each character. And for her, she came right out and said that because she was a little girl, and I think she's stuck or she's cursed to be a little girl for like the rest of her life or something like that. Even though she's like thousands of years old, she's like 3 or 4 thousand years old or something like that.
Hmm.
And so Meliodas, he's even older than that.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Elizabeth, because they were the goddess and the demon clan children. The daughter of the goddess of the goddess clan and the son of the demon lord of the demon clan.
Mm-hmm.
They got together and then they were cursed. Him
Mm-hmm.
to live forever and for her to be reborn.
Yeah, she's always
Dies.
constantly reincarnating.
Yeah, every time she gets her memory back, she dies and reincarnated. So throughout all that time, all the years, of course, Merlin was born to a. She was born to a tribe of witches or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and she was born with the power of infinity. And she bargained for each side, like for the goddess and the demon clan, to help
Give her,
her.
like, the greatest gift. and I
Right.
think it was like to sway her to be like she was to tilt the balance in one of their two favors, correct?
Yeah, it was something like that. I forget the exact thing. It's like she got the power
And she
to
basically
be
like double
immune
crossed
from
them
both of
both.
their. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I think the demon and goddess clan destroyed her village. From there,
Mm-hmm.
she met Meliodas, and she fell in love with Meliodas. They came right out and said that she's like insanely over the hills, cannot live without him, in love with Meliodas. And but Meliodas is like, sorry, but I like Liz, Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, she decided to dig her intentions into knowledge, into learning. That's her gluttony. Like she's a
Okay.
glutton for all knowledge of everything. And one of those gluttons, or the main glutton for her, is chaos. And the only reason she got with King Arthur and chose to be around him and follow him is because she wanted to see how chaos was gonna bloom, how it's gonna work, but she doesn't know anything about it. So once Arthur came about and he started to unlock his powers, and she was able to see chaos, and even Escanor, I'm sorry, let me go back. Escanor loved her, but she was like, sorry, I only like Meliodas. Um, and she doesn't even love Arthur either. She just wants to see the chaos. So sometime between, and she left with him to watch over him at the end of the series. So between then and 16 years later now, for some reason, she's gone. And it even showed in the anime now, I think, that Arthur was like, he misses her, like she's by his side. But if I'm not mistaken, that's not the real Merlin. It's only an illusion that he's created. And so she's gone. Like he just keeps that there. And it's like, where's Merlin?
Hmm.
My theory is that, and actually she came back up in this last chapter. They were like, where's Merlin? Where's Merlin? They're talking about it again. So I think she either is going to be the main villain, or maybe she's like bored. Like she saw chaos, she knows what it is, and she's done. She went off somewhere else. That's why she's done with Arthur. You know,
Hmm.
it's kind of simple. It's kind of, maybe that's not real, but she's knowledge. All her stuff is about knowledge and loves Meliodas. So yeah,
Interesting. Interesting.
we'll see. Let's see. That was two. So right, I think I got. Was that one or two?
Yes, I believe that was
Oh,
two.
that was two. That was two.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, this was an extra one. All right. So the next one. These are no particular order, really. The Mystery of Avaros. Avaros.
Oh, I don't know that one. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think so. Let me see.
Um, I guess it would be called an anime. It's more of like your 3D cell shaded kind of style. It actually came out to about 3 seasons a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and I think it did so well that they were actually renewed for 7 more seasons right off bat, just like Rick and Morty did. So they're only on season 7 right now, I think. I think they got 3 more to go. Actually, they just talked about the next season should be coming out soon. Really great series, pretty simple, straightforward. It's about this evil dark elf that was like Avaros. He was a plague upon the land years ago, but he was imprisoned by the dragons, and the dragons have him locked away. And each main dragon has a piece of the puzzle that unlocks him. And so Avaros, he kind of possesses one of the wizards on the side over there, and he has a couple of kids. He has a daughter that's actually doing witchcraft like him, and a son that works for the king. And this whole thing about like usurping the king and going on an adventure to stop the bad guys from unlocking the evil dark elf, and a lot of relationships and different kingdoms and things, dragons and stuff, magic. It's a good watch. It's an easy watch. It's not like your One Piece or anything like that, but it's fun.
Okay. Okay.
Definitely worth checking out.
Hmm.
Um. Oh man, these last two are tough. No order, no order. But let me see if I can pull it up. Good. Baki,
Baki. Okay. All right.
the grappler.
Baki Hanma.
Yes, yes. And technically, this came out last year, but since they just renewed, they just did a movie with Baki and the
Ashura. Right.
Ashura. Yeah, yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, it counts. So Baki the grappler. I mean, this is what I was talking about. Was like it's grounded in realism, but it's like over the top
Okay.
supernatural techniques.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man. So I have a little bit of history with Baki. I actually found out about Baki back in 2007 when it was the original Baki. It was Baki the Grappler, um, not the Baki that we see here, not Baki and Baki Hanma, but when he was younger. Because when you watch this Baki on Netflix, there's a lot of references back when like, hey, that underground tournament we had, and my brother Jack the Hammer and all this kind of stuff, and my dad, because it starts out just like he's trying to beat his dad, and
Mm-hmm.
the five villains try to come and fight him. But it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? Well, I don't know who all these people are. That's because this is like series number 3 or series number 4. Because there was another anime that covered like 3 other arcs beforehand when he was
Mm-hmm.
like 16, 17. And that I actually saw commercials for that back on the anime I watched back in the day. This is it right here. It looked totally different. This is how the animation was back in the day with Baki.
Yeah.
He had
Okay.
short hair, and it was all this right here. And he was dumb young. That's that 90s anime style.
Mm-hmm.
And it was updated now. He's 18, and it got it, like this. It's just one of those. It kind of grounds itself in realism and in science. It's like actually in this kung fu style, if you hit somebody like this, it'll explode their eardrums. But since I'm like my muscles are like 10 tons, I can actually blow this guy's head up with the flick of a wrist or something. And it's like, what? The peak human strength or whatever. It's stupid awesome. I love watching it. If a season comes out, I drop everything to turn this on. It's one of my faves right now. But yeah, any thoughts on that?
Have you watched the Baki and versus Ashura?
I did watch it. I think I watched it last week actually.
Okay, okay. I have not watched it yet.
It's
I just I feel like I know what's gonna happen.
uh-huh.
Like you're waiting to see who's gonna win, but I don't think they're gonna give it to you. They're gonna make some other big bad, and then they're gonna join team and then beat that new big bad, and then just like shake hands and walk off, and not like decide who's the top fighter, right?
Yeah. Or
Okay.
are you asking? Are you
No,
asking?
yeah, I'm just asking. That's what I feel. I feel like
Yeah,
they're not even
that's what
really
they
going
do.
to.
They kind of showed up like, oh, like it's you. Oh, it's you.
Hmm.
And then they make them equal. They do it with all the characters, like Biscuit Olivia, like he's like the super muscle guy, and Baki. I guess there was a guy like that. He's not as big, but he's like the muscle guy for what is it called again? Ashura?
Ashura.
Yeah, there's a muscle guy there. So they meet up, and then the like Yojiro, I think his dad is like the strongest guy in that series. So
Mm.
there's a guy in Ashura who's like the strongest guy, and they meet up, and it's like, really, y'all doing this? It's like y'all just having them match with each person, and then even Baki matched with the main character, and they were even. It's like he did this punch thing, and then I think Ashura turned to his Ashura mode, and then Baki went into his like free form mode or whatever. And it was like, oh, y'all just okay. Like you said, it's like they don't give it to you. They don't like you win.
Hmm.
Except except Pickles. Pickles came in and he kind of wrecked shop a little bit, but um, yeah, it's kind of a tease.
Okay, that's what I was thinking because I felt like neither one of these titles is going to want to submit to the other title. Like, yeah, I just want you to know Baki can wreck floor with Ashura, and Ashura can wreck floor with Baki, and give
Yeah,
it to you. And they both like, yeah, no, my guy is just it's just as viable, it's just as equal footing as yours. And then they shake hands and they're like, yeah, much respect, bro, much respect. And then this,
much
so
respect.
what? I thought you were gunning to be number one. Like, why y'all didn't fight to the end? Oh, really?
Exactly. That's what you would think. But yeah, this last one. This is the only other thing I'm really watching. Well, I think it finally finished its first season, but it is Delicious in the Dungeon.
Yeah, okay, okay.
It it's actually made by Studio Trigger,
Hmm.
the same guys who did Gurren Lagann and,
Mm,
and Kill la Kill,
okay, I
and
like those.
yeah, yeah,
I'm okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw this and I'm like, it's dumb. I
uh,
immediately saw this. It was like, dumb. I'm not watching it. And then I think I read like a synopsis of it. And it's like this team of adventurers going through a dungeon and need to survive and learn to eat the taboo dungeon creatures. And I'm like, yeah, this is dumb. I'm not wasting time on this.
I understand. I understand. I felt the same way because I check on Studio Ghibli like at least once a month to see not Studio Ghibli, Studio Trigger, and I try to see what's their new project because I follow all their stuff. I say Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, My Little Witch Academy, Academia. Um, they also did Dead Leaves. They did B&A too. Um,
DNA.
yeah. Oh, if you haven't seen that one,
Is that the one with where you can kill your enemy and like consume their ability?
no, it is this right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did this, and they did the Cyberpunk series that came out last year or year before. Um, man, I love this series. I wish they would do a season two, but
Mm,
their new show is fortunately is this. It's not
okay.
your typical battle series like all the other things.
Hmm.
Um, it's a couple of adventurers in the dungeon, your epic fantasy. I thought it was an isekai at first, but it's not. Um, it has rules kind of like an isekai. Like if you die, you can just be picked up and taken to the next regen point and be regenerated, or you can just be healed up or whatever. So dying is not necessarily an end all be all, but it can be.
Mm,
It can be. Um,
mm,
but so the series basically they're a party. Um, no secret is a party of like a elf, a human, dwarf, a half foot, a mage, and all this stuff, and they go through a dungeon. In the first episode, very first time, they're wiped out. They meet an enemy that wipes them out, and a couple of them are reincarnated. And so they meet this guy here, this dwarf, and they're like, "Hey, we have to go back down and save some of our friends that can be revived." And it's like, "All right, well, I'll help you go down there." So as they're going down, it's like we have no supplies or anything. So they're going down. They kill a few little monsters here and there, a little fodder. It's like, "Oh, we have no food, we have no money or anything." It's like, "That's fine. I can just cook these monsters we just ate. We just killed." So they'll cook it up and they'll actually show you like first you have to bring the pot to a nice boil. Then you have to cut them very sharply and put it together and all this kind of stuff. And there you go. There's your dish. And it's kind of like Food Wars or Outer
mm,
Stone or something like that. But
mm.
what they do have the fights where it's like, oh snap, we're fighting a dragon. It's like full on Gurren Lagann like animation. We're doing like these epic fights and everything like that. Maybe silly
Okay,
characters and stuff. But then
okay.
there's like, all right, it's like, I wonder what that dragon tastes like. It's like, no, we can't eat every monster. He's like, yeah, I have to eat it.
Mm,
It's kind of funny, but
okay.
it was coming out once a week. It was coming out every week for the last 26 episodes. on Netflix.
Okay, I might give it a watch. I might give
Give
it a
it, give
watch.
it. Watch one or two episodes. I think you'll once you feel the vibe of what it's going for. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it a lot more than I was kind of like, like, man, I don't want to watch. This isn't what I would like from them. But I was like, but it's Studio Trigger. They wouldn't be doing this for no reason.
So I don't like fighting foodons. All right, that was silly. I didn't like Food Wars. That was silly too. So I'm hoping that this isn't like that.
No, no, no.
You
As far
remember fighting foodons?
yes, I have memories of fighting foodons.
Ricer, fried ricer, go!
I have fond memories.
Fried ricer, go! It was like the food version of Pokemon. I choose you, fried ricer. Ricer.
Right, right, sir. Hot dog on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. You didn't.
Fighting foodons.
Wow.
Fighting
Oh yeah,
foodons.
fighting foodons was weird. Yeah, yeah, I could see that. The dragon. I mean, it was so it's closer to if anything, it's closer to like Food Wars or Doctor Stone or something like that.
Okay, I like Dr. Stone. I like Dr.
Yeah,
Stone.
because everything they do is real. It's real science, like real cooking. It's like,
Mm.
oh, if you want to eat these eggs, these like Griffin eggs, first you gotta, you can do it like this, and you can fry them, or you can do it like this and put it together. It's only a short portion of the show because the rest of it is like, I mean, the serious stuff. Like, hey, my father died, so it's like I can't go into this dungeon, and then whatever monster, there's a different monster each episode, and they have to figure out how to beat it, and then they cook it. So, it's kind of silly, but
Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Try it.
it's slightly piqued my interest. Slightly.
Okay, all right. But no, that's it. That's all I had to bring to the table today. Any last thoughts? Any wrap up before we end the stream?
No, I'd say we got a good little collection there. Some questionable ones, but overall, I'd say good. JoJo kind of,
Uh,
it's unique. It's a
yeah,
very unique anime right there. So, all right, all right. I'm surprised you put what was it, Asha the Prince? What was it?
oh, the mystery of Avaro or
Of
something like that.
Alvaro? Alvaro? Okay, okay. Yeah, that one. The Dragon Prince. Yeah, so um I don't know about that one. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I think
Yeah,
I think I saw it on Netflix. It was like, in the stream of, hey, choices to pick, and I
yeah.
thought it looked like something like my children would like to watch.
I mean, it's more like a If I had to compare it to something, I would say it's kind of like Avatar,
Okay.
where not the powers. Avatar has a very unique, like airbenders and all that stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
the feel and the tones kind of like Avatar. It's like
Okay.
silly Sokka being silly, but then whatever it gets serious, and then it gets silly, serious. So
Hmm.
yeah. Hmm.
But yeah, I think overall it's a good setup. Good setup.
Yeah. 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 Well, awesome. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. So no, these are fun. I like doing this. There's definitely some thoughts I'd be having in my mind, about some of these series and stuff. But maybe next week, if there's something you want to talk about, is if there's a topic or anything, um, let me know. Shoot it at me, and maybe we can do this again around the same time next week. Fallout fails. Maybe if Friday works best for you around that time, if it worked, or maybe Saturdays. I'm game either or.
Game too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Y'all can catch me on Mondays and Wednesdays, and now on probably Fridays at 7 o'clock doing a live stream. Monday and Wednesday I'll be doing my animation, and all that kind of stuff. And then we're starting the Let's Talk series about anime and different stuff. And hell, who knows? We might even start a Let's Talk About Relationships. I mean, we almost did that earlier on. So it's a lot of fun. And Freddie, if you want to shout out any stuff you're doing in your channel.
Yep. I'm mostly still doing just the shorts, closeted anime. Um, so I try to do them either a Monday, Wednesday, or a Friday. If you can, just subscribe, hit the notification button. You'll see it pop up, and whenever you get on the YouTube, and you'll have a nice little short to watch.
Good, good. All right, man. Well, it's been real. And like I said, I'll see you next week.
All right.
Have a
See
good
you
one.
next week. Take care.